Meeting. Before we get started, I just wanted to go ahead and let y'all know that item number 38, if anyone was here for that, item number 38 was pulled. Unfortunately, was not pulled until after the agenda had been published. So if you're here for number 38, feel free to stick it around if you want to, but that item is not going to be discussed tonight. That's the resolution on the soccer recreation. All right. So, moving on into the council meeting, we'll start with the invocation and followed by the pledge. And the invocation tonight is going to be from Pastor Matt McCollum with Trinity Presbyterian.
Let's pray. God of mercy, in this holy season, we thank you for all of the blessings we enjoy, the shelter of home, the comfort of family and friends, and most of all, for your love that comes at Christmas. We pray for those in need of your tender mercies this day. We pray for those who are ill and those who are recovering, those whose sadness is made heavier by the holiday memories they have or by some present pain. We pray for those who do not have enough food, enough companionship, enough hope. We thank you also for the work that you've given us to do. So bless our local leaders, guide our mayor and city council with your wisdom and discernment, for we entrust ourselves to your care. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Good job, Matt.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, first item up, I need an approval of the minutes of the 22nd of November, as well as the work session and the city council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Any other changes, additions, deletions? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Mayor, your report.
Thank you. I just have a couple things tonight. First, I want to introduce our new electric superintendent, Jade Fleming. Jade comes to us from Georgia Power and also had worked for the city of Troy, so we're really glad to have him here. I think he's going to be a great addition to our team, and we're just fortunate to have moved him to Fairhope. The other person I'd like to introduce is Jenny. Jenny is here, and she is going to be the assistant city clerk. She is working underneath Lisa Hanks, so there are times where you may see her here actually taking minutes if Lisa gets to take a day off. Right, Lisa?
Thank you.
Thank you. The other thing, I just want to let people know that we are starting to operate a shuttle in downtown Fairhope. I'm really excited to have that. It's a handicap accessible golf cart that if you park in the parking deck that you'll be able to utilize. Right now we're doing it Monday through Friday from 10 to 2 until we kind of get our feet wet and get some policies and procedures in place with the shuttle. But I'm excited to have that as a new addition to the CBD and being able to use that to shuttle residents and visitors around downtown. Thank you.
Is that it, Mayor? All right, thank you very much. Next item up is public participation, and this is going to be not for the two public hearings, but for agenda items 7 through 41, with the exception of item number 38, which has been pulled. And if you would like, you can come to the podium. You have 3 minutes. Just give your name and address, but we are going to stick to the 3-minute rule since we have quite a long agenda tonight. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure which one it is. It's about the traffic study on North Ingleside. Is that 40?
Okay, yeah, that is item number 41. Yes.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Wendy Mundy. I'm speaking on behalf of very concerned residents in the North Ingleside area. Let me start by saying how much we appreciate the council discussing our safety issue tonight. Specifically, what we're asking for is a 3-way stop sign at North Ingleside and Wynn. In case you aren't aware, North Ingleside is approximately 2/3 of a mile long between Gayfer and Fairhope Avenue. It's a very straight road, no hills or curves, which makes it ideal for those that want to use it as a cut-through. It's also a very narrow road, which we think will make it difficult and costly to install pinch points. Not sure, but we think. During the recent traffic study, more than 18,000 vehicles used North Ingleside. Of that volume, 57% increased the posted 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, and there are numerous recordings between 40 to 50 miles an hour and even max speeds in the 70 to 80-mile-an-hour range. With all the growth in the area, traffic volumes and speeding on North Ingleside will only continue to grow. While we are fortunate to have sidewalks on the street, there are some sections that have no buffer between the street and the sidewalk. On a daily basis, families walk with their small children and pets. It's very scary to be on the sidewalk when a car passes going 45 miles an hour. And as you can imagine, it would not take much of a distraction for either driver or pedestrian for there to be a serious accident. So while we wait for an effective pinch point solution, we are asking for the stop signs to be installed now. If either a better solution is eventually identified, the stop signs can be easily removed. We hope you agree that stop signs are needed on North Ingleside at Wynn Avenue. We know that Chief Hollinghead supports this. We're asking for your approval so our streets can be safer. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa, did you get her address, or did you need that?
It's
Oh.
251 North Ingleside.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mundy. Appreciate you. All right. Anyone else wish to address the council? Agenda items 7 through 41. Yes, ma'am.
I do not have a copy of the agenda,
Oh,
but
sorry.
I was speaking about the zoning
Okay, there's.
and the moratorium.
Okay, the moratorium, you can go ahead and speak towards the moratorium. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
My name is Elizabeth Gable Wilson. I'm leading the District 37 zoning petition. First, I would like to thank the mayor for inspiring me to head this up and to give our citizens a voice. I would like for the council to know that in the first 10 days of gathering signatures, we collected 450 signatures out of approximately, which was about 15% of the registered voters, and we only needed 10%. We had 120 days to do that, and we did it in the first 10 days. Our biggest obstacle was that people wanted to sign who were already in city limits or who were outside of this zoning group. So it was just a tremendous amount of people who wanted to be zoned. Their concerns are the growth and not having a voice in what is said. They would like to be notified when these developments come in. They would like for them not to be so dense. The density of the developments is a major issue. So far, where we're at with that zoning is we're looking at a February 15th election date. The only thing holding us up right now is approval from Three Circle Church. That's where our district always votes for the last 10 years or so, if not longer. So we're just waiting on a representative from Three Circle Church to notify the county that that would be a good day. District 8, I'm working with Clarice Hall Black. They also reached their signatures, and they already have a confirmed election day of February 15th. I think the Mars Hill Church has already agreed to hold it there, and that is their primary election place as well. Yeah. A little nervous, never
all
done
right,
this
that's all
before.
right.
But I just want to emphasize how much people didn't know what zoning was. We had to teach them. They thought that zoning, for years people didn't want zoning. And then once we told them what zoning was about, they were excited. They're excited that somebody in the community is driving this force. And we're ready to vote on February 14th, and we would like to have a moratorium in place now on all subdivisions and large land use projects. I would hope that the moratorium does not affect single For instance, I talked to someone, they already own their plot of land. It's not in a subdivision, and they would like to get a building permit to build their single-family house
Yeah,
on
that-
there. So I would hope the moratorium does not affect them.
No, just subdivisions and multiple occupancy projects.
Okay, yeah, so it's our wish that we pass that moratorium now to give us a chance. It takes the county a little while to get the vote in place. They have to wait 30 days in the newspaper and all that. So until we get that done, if we could do the moratorium, that's what
Okay.
District 8 and 37 would like.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Wilson. You did a good job, nothing to be nervous about. Would anyone else like to speak to agenda items 7 through 41? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Kendall Erringman. I live at 21311 Rolling Oaks Drive in Fairhope. I just wanted to take a moment and thank you guys so much for voting and considering this moratorium. I'm a longtime Fairhope resident, and my grandparents have lived in the same house that I now live in, and we have watched our city grow, and it's healthy at a certain pace, and y'all are recognizing that, and we're so grateful for y'all considering this moratorium, just to take a moment to breathe and to do it in a healthy way that benefits our city and our residents, and is not quite so overwhelming. So I just wanted to thank you guys for that. We actually live very close to an area that has a multifamily residence occupant, however you say that,
Yeah.
a MUD, being proposed, and it just feels so imposing and threatening being so close, where we have a small community, and we still have that small town, small country feel, and it's very threatening to us to have that come so close to home. So I just wanted to also express my support for the moratorium, and I speak for a lot of the residents of Rolling Oaks and Rolling Oaks North and Rolling Oaks South, and how we are also in support of that moratorium. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much, Kendall. Would anybody else like to come address the council for agenda items 7 through 41? All right. Seeing no one else, we'll go ahead and close public participation. And move to agenda item number 4, council comments. Councilman Burrell?
I have no comments.
Councilman Martin?
Yeah, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas if I don't see you again, and a Happy New Year. Bless you and your families, and that's it.
Councilman Robinson?
Yeah, I wanted to thank everybody who took the time to participate in the Christmas parade. Was it 2 Fridays ago now? It's always a really special event, and I know that we always have so many people that want to be a part of it, and I think we usually fill up. Is that right, Paige? And so thank you to Paige, thank you to Public Works, Police, everybody else that helped put it together, and everybody that participated. It's always great. What makes it special.
Councilman Boone?
No comment.
All right, and I have no comments. So the next item, we've got a public hearing for an ordinance amending zoning ordinance number 1253, request to zone the property of Hilltop Fairhope LLC to a planned unit development concurrent with annexation. Property generally located on the west side of Section Street on, I'm not sure I know how to pronounce that, Patoli Drive and the north of Patoli Drive, Fairhope, Alabama.
I'll
Mr. Hunter.
introduce the ordinance.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Councilor.
sir.
This is a zoning change with conditional annexation into a PUD. This is not a new project, however. There were 2 phases that were approved some years ago, and it sits on 25.88 acres. And the 2 phases were approved by the Planning Commission under the subdivision regulations. So 1 phase is finalized, and houses are being built, and the road is being finalized in the existing phase. So you see some of the lots already shown here. We did receive within the application all of the owners that have bought land and homes there, or homes that are being constructed with the application, have agreed to the annexation. This plan kind of shows the green space and the residential and one bit commercial component. You know, when they came and talked to us about annexing the city, it was how do we massage this, because it's rather large lots, and if you've driven by here, I really recommend. This is a great example of development being sensitive to the environment and massaging the land and leaving very important trees there, and how you accommodate the wetland and the boardwalk and connectivity there. It's a great job of doing that. But the commercial aspect was how do we accomplish them? Because there's some really good ideas there, but don't have those finalized. So the PUD has some language about the commercial. Real quick, just the lot sizes are just like the platted lots of record. Nothing different there. You know, and mainly there are one-size lots, but the front setbacks are a little different, a little less than the 40-foot required. But the whole subdivision was designed that way. Allows a larger house in essence. Lot 29 is the kind of mixed use, and it's the language within the PUD talks about a vision of what it is, but when we got to looking at that location, what's appropriate, a fast food, a gas station wasn't the appropriate location for that. So that's been stricken from the uses, but talking about what it can be, bed and breakfast suites, a cafe, bakery, beer, wine, community house and with a couple of opportunities for potentially stacked flats. It's small, so we're not talking 50 units there. It's a rather small lot, but that was the proposed, and as you'll see, we recommended approval in Planning Commission unanimously. Green spaces met within the PUD, within the subdivision change. The only kind of quirk here, the roads were built to Baldwin County standards. They have maintenance bonds with them. So if annexed into the city, the applicant will have to work with the city of Fairhope and Baldwin County in order to coordinate that execution of acceptance from Fairhope of the roads and maintenance. I don't want to speak for them, but we have talked with Richard through the Planning Commission case, and he sees no problem. They're great roads. They're right here in our backyard. So staff did recommend approval. Planning Commission unanimously voted to recommend approval as well. If you'll have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Any questions for Hunter right now, or would y'all?
Mr. Chairman, I have some questions.
Yes, sir.
Hunter, what is it currently zoned?
It's unzoned, Baldwin County.
It is unzoned Baldwin County.
Yes, sir.
And what uses could it have if it remained in the unzoned Baldwin County?
In unzoned, we do not have any control over uses.
What would the
So
density be of that? Part of it's already developed, right? And that was approved by the city.
yes.
And so you basically have 3 lots that are going to be commercialized, all right?
One lot, just the one lot, lot 29. So in the county, all of our lots have to be 100-foot
I
wide.
was looking at in my package, there is a picture, that's not it. And it's the one that shows a plan view and the lots.
That one?
No.
It's in our packet.
Oh, right here, okay. What are the 2 large lots at the top of the picture on the right?
So there's actually a lot that's on this image. The one that's abutting Section Street is not part of this PUD. So that is a mistake. Just recognize that's the one that's kind of got a cutout
Right.
right in
Okay,
front.
so that's not a part of this.
That's not a part of this.
And
The
then the lot
other
to the
one
left
is
of that.
residential. It was phase 2. So if you see this little circular area on the northern part of the screen, where the 8 lots are, with a kind of a circular green.
I see it now. I see the little notch at the bottom. I see that, okay.
Yeah, that's.
And they're not asking for a change for that either?
No, it's exactly as it's approved within the subdivision case.
Okay.
So But good question on the use and density, and when we're just looking at it in subregs, are factors that we typically can't look at. Does it meet our subdivision regulations? So whether what the use is, we typically wouldn't look at. So I think the applicant's kind of giving up some freedom, if you will. What people think of as freedom on that commercial lot, and coming in and putting it under the PUD. So I really appreciate that. It's good to see that sometimes.
Any additional questions from the council for Hunter?
Yeah, I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
So Hunter, once
Bless
if
you.
the
Bless you.
plan, bless you, God bless you. If the plan with all the things that I saw that they were hoping to do, it was about 10 of them. If that doesn't work out, then they're going to revert back to a residential, correct?
That's correct.
Very good. That's what I wanted to know.
And R1 is the base zoning of all of these lots with those exceptions as stated in the PUD. And that was something that they actually submitted themselves.
That's right.
Okay.
Council, any additional questions? Kevin or Jay? Well, this is a public hearing, so is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council regarding this item? All right, hearing none, I'd like to let this lay over till next council meeting. Okay, all right. Let this lie over. Agenda item number 6, this is also.
They did.
Agenda item number 6, this is also an ordinance, amend zoning ordinance number 1253 to request to zone the property of Del Cordy to B2, General Business District concurrent with annexation. Property generally located at the northeast corner of State Highway 181 and State Highway 104, Fairhope, Alabama. Would someone like to introduce this ordinance?
I'll introduce it.
All right.
Okay.
All right, and Hunter, if you would, sir.
Thank you, council. This is another zoning with conditional annexation, and similar to the previous one, there's already been approvals of their MOP and a minor subdivision, and there is a preliminary plat, as we'll see, that created lots that is conditional on this zoning case. So this is, for those unfamiliar, is where the Publix being built on 181 is that site, an intersection of State Highway 104. So it's the lot you see on the map, zoning map on the left. It's currently unzoned Baldwin County. The aerial, as it was when we received the original application, is on the right. This did receive in 2020 an MOP, multiple occupancy project, to establish the Publix and the, I believe, 13 potential retail units within the building on one site. And I'm sorry, it was originally as 15, and 14 of those are in addition to the one big public space. We did receive a proposed plat along with the application of this to create out parcels. These are your standard out parcels that you'll see around commercial projects. And the applications we received here is for straight zoning to B2. So if approved, lots 2 through 9 would inherit this was a condition. So if this passes council, then the preliminary plat is finalized. They will go and construct the roads and put the infrastructure in that creates the lots 2 through 9. Those will inherit the B2 zoning. As B2s, and most of you know, the B2 zoning is our commercial. It's the appropriate location, we felt. This is within the comp plan, one of the commercial nodes where we have envisioned this type of growth. And there is, on the image on the screen, is a section of right-of-way, and I'll kind of go back to this image. To the right of the screen is a section of right-of-way that will terminate into the Publix parking lot, and from that point will be private, but this has been requested for the city to take over as maintenance. with one footnote, the flower beds in between will be maintained by at least collectively, the retail and business. So we will get a acceptance. This will be a preliminary plat and final plat. And after final plat, if approved, that will come back to the city council to accept that right-of-way. Just for reference, here's the B2 zoning, if anybody's curious of what the use is allowed. This did go through our planning commission, and staff recommended approval. The planning commission unanimously, with a vote of 7-0, also voted to recommend approval of CZ 2113. And if you have any questions on this, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, first thing, I just had a comment. It looks like, I mean, we are talking about the northwest corner, correct, of Highway
Yes, and I'll
181
get
and
back.
104. As it says northeast on the agenda, that's just a minor typo, but if we could clear that up for the next meeting. Okay. Council, do y'all have any questions for Hunter?
Yeah, Mr. President, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
So Hunter, it was already rezoned to a PUD, right?
No, sir.
It was
This
never
is
rezoned to PUD?
never been annexed in nor rezoned. This was built as an unzoned Baldwin County.
Where did I see a recommendation for a PUD in the literature? Yeah, right there.
This was a copy over from something else, I believe the staff report, and the advertisement was to B2. So, that is an error in our slides right now. So this is, and was advertised
So
as
it was recommended
B2.
approval for rezoning to B2?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you for clearing that up, because that jumped out at me.
Yes, sir.
Secondly, why should we maintain that right-of-way, that nice curve that's going into a shopping center? Why should we be responsible for maintaining that?
So while informal, we've had some discussions about what future will look like on this site. And why I think staff would recommend that, it would help us provide for connectivity and not be private roads. So there's that option. But we didn't want to go into parking lots and maintain those. So it was kind of a middle ground.
It's not going, what is it going into if it's not going into a parking lot?
Well, we didn't want to maintain once we go into that parking lot. So if you'll see there, this was the only area we've agreed to, or we recommended to agree to take over maintenance on.
Okay.
There were questions, Hunter, as far as the traffic flow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Did we egress and ingress as far as one-way rights only, lefts only? And the people were concerned, citizens were concerned about people crossing over. Who's handling that information and what does that look like?
So Councilman Martin, Councilman Conyers, y'all both spent time on the Planning Commission recently, and you know the growth we're seeing in this area. The plans that were submitted with the preliminary plat application for this actually changed what the MOP was, so they had to make more improvements. With some other projects in that area, this intersection is still kind of, AlDOT's basically looking at those, and we don't have all of those answers on what it ultimately will look like, or really that little section of 181. But AlDOT is in the middle of looking at those, where lights are needed, where median cuts all the way across. So being a state road, they are the authority and final answer there, and are still, they've kind of had an answer, and then another project comes along that kind of takes them back to the drawing board. So they're still looking at that.
But they are aware and they're looking at it.
Yes, sir. They have spent had many meetings about this one.
All right, council, any additional questions for Hunter?
I've got one more.
Yes, sir. Keep them coming.
Where applicable, for instance, we may not be able to provide electric utilities there. Will we provide other utilities, water, sewer?
Yes, sir.
Gas possibly, this location?
Yes, sir. We handled, so Some of those were approved during the MOP, but during preliminary plat, I believe this is water, sewer, gas? Yes, are all being provided to the site. Obviously, the lots 2 through 9 are not being developed at this time, so how they connect to their site in the site will have to happen then, whether that's just tapping. But bringing water, sewer, and gas to the site has been in play for quite a few months now.
One last question. Yes, sir. Being ever mindful that we have a moratorium on tonight's agenda, but this is already under construction. This thing is in unzoned county. It's being built right now. What's the downside to annexing? I don't really see a downside. What is the downside?
I mean, Councilman, I think, as a planner, it's not just always the built environment we have to look at. It's how we're sustaining the growth and the revenue we're getting from all this commercial land is, I think, critical as we go to be able to hire new people to handle the growth, whether that's from our utilities, from our staff. I think it's critical, and we've reviewed it every way we could have in the MOP and the preliminary plat. They're handling a lot of the connectivity, is taking it off the road and having an internal drive. So I see no negative.
Yeah, I think to Councilman Burrell's point, I mean, any of the negative impacts of the rezoning of this property or the construction of this property are going to be felt regardless. So you might as well get the upside of having them in the city limits. And frankly, I think with all the construction happening out there, it's going to be nice to have an additional grocery store, high-end grocery store in that area.
Well, and to throw one other plus, they could have piecemealed annexation. They're bringing the whole site in, so that's a good partner with the city that as those out parcels develop, they'll be meeting B2 requirements as opposed to unzoned.
All right, council members, any other questions for Hunter? All right, well, this is a public hearing, so at this time, if anyone in the audience would like to address the council, and this again, oh, yes, ma'am.
I would like to say, since it's unzoned county, it's inside District 37, I would like to table that until after our zoning vote, before we change. I don't know if that's possible. It's not. It's already done.
Yeah, the moratorium won't affect anything that's already has an application placed.
Okay.
And I mean, this
So
is
even though
under
it's
construction.
unzoned
This is
county,
already,
there's no way that
under
that would.
But it's already
They're
under
zoning in.
construction, so.
Oh, okay.
And they're zoning in. We don't want to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't, yeah.
No
And
worries.
any moratorium, when the county does zoning in an area, they will put not sure if I'm using the right language, but they kind of stop new applications, except for minor applications. They wouldn't do
So
that
this
here.
is just a minor change to a project that's already been approved?
This is just annexing into the city. They wouldn't stop this with the rezoning either. They would just find the appropriate zoning. So it's the equivalent of them being zoned
Okay.
out there. Okay?
All right. Any additional public comments on this item? Floor is open.
Got a hand, Jimmy?
Are they going to keep the other Publix open that's on 98?
As far as I know, Publix is,
So close.
well, they're also building one in Battles. I think Publix likes to have stores close by for distribution
Exactly.
purposes. It helps them. There seems to be a demand. I don't think they would build it without, but any other questions or address the council? Okay. Hearing none, council, would y'all like to let this lie over for the next meeting?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. The next item number 7 is an ordinance of the city of Fairhope to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the people relating to subdivision regulations and declaring a moratorium of the filing of subdivision and multiple occupancy project applications outside the city limits within the planning jurisdiction, and any real property that annexes into the city during the moratorium shall be subject to the moratorium. Would someone like to introduce this ordinance?
Yes, Council Chairman, I'll introduce the ordinance.
Thank
with-
you, Councilman Martin.
With the revision of Section 2A of pre-application conference. included.
Okay, so anything that's already been through an informal review or pre-application conference?
That's exactly right.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Martin. Well, council members, I know this is probably what most people are here to discuss tonight, but since y'all have opened this up, Hunter, do you want to address this at all? Are you done? You tried. I thought you may wish to, just to explain some of the parameters. I know there were some conversations, but I want to make sure that citizens know there are projects that have already either been approved but have not started building, or they are already in process. The developers have spent lots of money. So while this is being considered tonight by the council, if it does pass, that does not mean that you won't see some construction in areas that you currently don't see it. Go ahead, Hunter.
Yes, sir. And I think that's a good example of why the moratorium's in place. With the COVID, with the supply chain problems, with the volume, a lot of projects were approved some 3 years ago, but never started construction. But new projects kept being approved, and all of a sudden, we're hit with a large volume of things, and other reasons why we're looking at what's happening with our jurisdiction, we don't know those answers to. And we're just reactive every day and not having a chance to be proactive on projects. And I don't want to speak for any other department, so I'll just speak for mine. But I think that could apply to others. I will, but I think your point there is we can't just stop everything. The things that are already in play are there. Obviously, there's a process for instituting an ordinance, so anything until that ordinance is final, if it is final, can come in. And I'm going to go ahead and just mention, because I know there's a lot of people here from Lawrence Road and Bishop and Dyer, and we did receive 2 complete applications today for those 2 projects. So those we'll do our letters, we'll do our advertisements, but those will be on the February Planning Commission agenda. There's some others that these informal reviews, that we've had, or pre-application conferences that we've had in the last 2 years, those will be, there's not many of those. Those are a very limited number. I counted 4. So there will be some projects. There's exemptions in there for minor subdivisions. I believe, I can't remember exactly which exemptions are there. Minor subdivisions are those with I think, some of the exceptions that somebody else asked for. It's the family coming in and wanting to split one lot into 2 that doesn't create public infrastructure. I believe there was, if there is a annexation, because annexations if brought into the city, they still fall under the moratorium. If there's a PUD that's already been approved, however, and has multiple phases, that will continue. So each phase under that. The reserves are a good example. The retirement center on Volanta, that came in with approval. They've started construction, but they want to make an amendment to that. So you'll be seeing that ultimately. It's a pretty minor amendment, but there's no moratorium on that. That's an already approved project, so they can come in and make that change. And hope that kind of offers
They
some
can ask
clarification.
for it.
And this does also.
Yes, this is ultimately
I
a
don't like when
council.
you talk in absolutes. They can
They can ask.
They can ask.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
And this does also not apply to properties currently within the city limits.
That's correct.
Yeah,
So we-
I mean, projects inside the city limits would be exempt from this, because the issue is that most of, and council, I'll certainly open this up for discussion at this point, but the issue is mostly what's happening outside of our city limits in the county, within the ETJ. That's where we're just seeing the most rampant growth. And frankly, not only the planning department, but utilities, infrastructure, just having a really difficult time keeping up. They're doing a great job, but it's just coming faster than what y'all can
And it's
address.
sometimes unforeseen things. A big positive is a lot of cities are struggling with getting fiber infrastructure and internet, and we're lucky. We're not having to partner with people and incentivize that. We've got 4 companies coming in and approval for, I believe, over 70 miles of that right now. But that takes a toll on our staff because as they're going out and installing, there's accidents. They're accidentally hitting water lines or, so where our utilities are out there making repairs every day when they could be making improvements. So, there's a lot of things happening. So it really is on the fringes of those infrastructure where, maybe 10 years ago, they weren't in our vision to having that kind of need. It's just come pretty quick.
Well, Council, I know everybody's probably got a lot to say about this. Why don't we just start and go down the line, and if you have comments, if you've got questions for Hunter or anyone with utilities or just anything you'd like to say right now, Councilman Burrell, we'll just start with you and work our way down the line.
Hunter, in regards to minor subdivisions, if somebody was to petition property into a minor subdivision, can it be re-subdivided? We've seen people get very creative, and if they were to create a minor subdivision that didn't need utilities, then they go into one of those lots and create another and another and another. How do we stop that?
We're going to stop that at staff level. So we have, and that was attempted multiple times.
They say they have the right to it. Let's say they walk in with their attorney and say, wait a minute, I have the right to do that.
Yeah. Well, anything with triggering an MOP, so we have had that we had that under the last moratorium. I wasn't here, but it rang true even when I got here. Somebody come in with a 3-lot minor, another 3-lot minor.
I was on the planning commission when that happened, I recall
Okay.
that. We need to shore that up somehow. So
And
was that needs to be shored up. Somebody comes in and re-subdivides, it reverts back to what it was. That's one way to do it, is to revert back to what it was prior to the initial subdividing. So that puts an end to that real quick.
Okay.
Secondly, I want to make the comment that I think that this is a great start, but I still think that we need to look at other things. I think that we need to look at subdividing property within the city limits as well. And I don't mean subdivisions, I mean the constant subdividing and re-subdividing and re-subdividing, because we're getting very dense now within our municipal limits, and I would like for us to start looking at that. And it's been looked at before, but it's time to get tough. It's time to get real tough.
Good comments. Anything else that comes to mind?
Just that I will be supporting this moratorium, and thank you for your work, Hunter, you and your staff, Mayor, and you and all your staff as well.
Hunter, before I jump to Corey, would you mind just speaking to what constitutes a multiple occupancy project? What's a qualifier for that for the
Sure.
For the audience?
Yeah, this is one of those. It's hard to explain it, in very quick succession because it can be multiple things. But in essence,
What's the most common?
Yeah. Well, in essence, a subdivision is not that place with a whole bunch of houses and a monument sign out in front of it. A subdivision is the process of dividing land into multiple pieces. And that can be 2 pieces or 800 pieces. So the preliminary plat is what we call when that happens. Well, there are other projects outside of our city limits and that fall under the subdivision regulations where we can't talk about use. So as Councilman Burrell asked, we can't ask if it's apartment or it's a townhome or it's a whatever, how you're going to use that land. That's what zoning allows us to do. An MOP, though, is when you have multiple units on one piece of property. So 3 or more units triggers a multiple occupancy. What they have to do then under that review is technical merits of meeting certain protections of the land, whether it's wetlands, environmental concerns, meeting drainage, providing plans for infrastructure that might entail easements. It's that technical review under the subdivision regulations where it's just don't go build it and we don't have any review under those. It's when it's bigger development than just someone going and building a single family house. So that's in essence what that MOP is for.
All right. Thank you. Councilman Martin, do you have any comments, questions, thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is a great time to do this, particularly because we are in the process of doing our comprehensive plan. And this moratorium will follow that comprehensive plan and give us, as a council and the mayor, an opportunity to kind of mitigate some of the development, if I may, that's going on, so that we can control our boundaries, see what our land use is that you talked about, and educate the public as far as what zoned and unzoned is. I think the young lady hit it on the head. I think a lot of people for a long time in this area frowned upon the word zoning, whether it was county or in the city. But that was just because it was misinformation and so forth. But now I think it's starting to hit home with the land being used as a commodity at this point. And so this moratorium will kind of give us the opportunity to kind of scale back and see what we're going to do as far as a plan is concerned. And it fits right along with our comprehensive plan. So all the community need to visit these comprehensive meetings, come to it so we can get your opinions and your thoughts, so we can kind of have an idea of a vision of what we're trying to do while we have this in place.
And thank you, Councilman Martin. And that's true. We've had, I think that's been the biggest comment we've received. As you know, we've had many comprehensive comp plan meetings, and you know, most people are phrasing it appropriately, not stopping growth. There's some that just stop everything, but grow smartly and making sure we're able to do that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Martin. Councilman Robinson, any comments?
Yeah, I'll echo what Jack and Corey said. I agree with what you said. And I'd just say this is a good start. Obviously, it's not all that needs to be done to kind of get a handle on this. But it's definitely a step in the right direction, and so I'm in favor of this, and look forward to seeing what we're going to do next to continue to get our hands around what we all recognize is a serious problem.
Councilman Boone, any comments from you?
Well, basically, it gives the city a chance to step back and catch its breath with all the buildings, subdivisions, and everything that's being built and being applied for, and it gives us a chance to look at what we need, our next steps, what we need to do with the comprehensive plan, which is what my colleague has said. I agree wholeheartedly with the moratorium, see what we can get in place and take care of business for the future.
All right, thank you. I just got a few comments to make, and one, there's multiple reasons for us to consider a moratorium at this time. I think from the strain on the planning department to the utilities to the pending zoning votes, I think we've got quite a few reasons to consider this. I just want to add, we are very blessed to live in a community where this is the second time in the last 5 years we've had to contemplate a moratorium. There's a lot of towns in Alabama that would love to have this problem, and so while we're doing that, we do need to recognize that we want to continue to grow as a community. It just needs to be controlled growth, something that we can manage, so that we have a place where people want to continue to move to and want their kids. When my kids grow up, I would like for them to want to come back to Fairhope, for there to be enough here for them to feel that this is a viable community. With that being said, I know there's some timing issues. Is there reason that should be given to the council that we should maybe take this into immediate consideration? Our normal policy is to hold over for the next meeting. Could you walk through some reasons we may want to?
Yeah,
vary from there?
I'll give you one.
Most people say
Stop
it was
the
2 years too
avalanche
late.
of applications.
That's
Mayor,
a big one.
Mayor, I did mean to ask you if you had any words or comments you'd like to make.
I'm going to go ahead and step up here.
Come on.
I'm going to put on my utilities hat for right now. My mayor hat
If
too.
I can say that, by the way.
But, two of the biggest challenges I have as being mayor, and two of the things that I found most difficult, is planning and personnel. With 400 employees, y'all can imagine the challenges that come with personnel. But planning is something that, when you run for mayor, your brain just doesn't open up and all the information falls into it, and you're automatically a planning expert. So I'm taking a planning class on Thursday. Hunter's recommendation, and it's been some good reading. But one thing that I read in the book that we're reading is talking about subdivision regulations. You know, you hear subdivision regulations all the time, but subdivision regulations are reactionary. They're something somebody wants to do with their land, so they come to you, you have a set of rules, and then you react to whatever they want to plan. We don't have time to be reactionary, or to be proactive, I should say. All we are is reactionary right now. We have to have a time to take a breath and be able to plan to make sure we are being good stewards of Fairhope for generations to come. The other thing is with utilities. Right now, we have more than $23 million in upgrades in the capital budget for utilities. That's everything from, you know, we've upgraded substations, and we're looking at capacity studies, and you have, you know, almost $20 million in just water and wastewater upgrades. And then you have also the gas plan. You know, we're engineering a plan to redo gas system all over in our gas system, not just in Fairhope, because obviously water, sewer, and gas go outside of our city limits, whereas we see a lot of the challenges. So for me with utilities, you know, a lot of times when they come to planning, they're submitting their subdivision regulations, but a utility plan has to come with that also. And I think that's one of the hardest things right now, is especially with water and wastewater, and even with gas. They come in with their plan and they're like, oh yeah, we'll agree to whatever they say. But after the fact, when you tell them, oh yeah, this is $500,000 for the infrastructure that needs to be put in place, all of a sudden they're like, oh whoa, wait, we don't want to pay that. We don't want to pass that on to our homeowners. So this will give us a chance to look at the upgrades that need to be done, to have a good plan in place, to get those upgrades done, and to start some of this so we're not taxing our systems as much. It's not fair to the people who live here, who have lived here, who you know, continue to see that we have water main breaks and those kind of things. And there's outside forces that happen, you know, contractors and that kind of stuff. But we are putting a strain on our systems, and we need a chance to, again, step back, take a breath, and come up with a plan that is going to take Fairhope into the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So, a couple of good, compelling reasons to consider this for immediate consideration this evening. Yes, sir.
Just one more, because part of that infrastructure is also our roads, and that how we're moving so fast that sometimes by the time roads are improved, I mean, everybody can see 181. By the time they widen it, it needs more improvements. And just like we were talking on the previous project, by the time one's approved, here comes another one, and that's out of date. So one of the things we've heard repeatedly during the comp plan is working better in concert with those outside agencies. So Baldwin County, when it's their roads, ALDOT, and working through those procedures, and we're just reacting every day and don't have time to kind of have those conversations and set up more efficient ways to address these concerns.
Yeah. All right. This gives us the chance to put those tools in place.
All right. Thank you. A lot of good comments. Any additional comments? Have we covered it all? Well, council, what's your pleasure at this time?
I'll move for immediate consideration.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second for immediate consideration. City Clerk, if you wouldn't mind calling the question.
Place 1.
Aye.
Place 2.
Aye.
Council President.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
I'll move for final adoption.
All right, we've got a motion and a second for final adoption. Any further discussion? Any other comments?
I will comment that, you know, as we seem like we're rushing through this, I don't think we are. I think that this has been on our plate for quite a while, and so if it seems like we're in a hurry tonight, we're not. This is something probably maybe slightly overdue, if not long overdue.
And I'd say I just want us to take full advantage of this opportunity and get things done, and not let 6 months go by without having advanced the ball to the point that this all makes sense.
And just for the clarification, this is for 12 months, right, the moratorium?
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
Correct.
thank you. And I knew what you were saying. All right, any last comments, council? None? All right, City Clerk, if you call the question.
Place 1.
Aye.
Place 2.
Aye.
Council President.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
All right, ordinance passes. Thank you, council. Appreciate your consideration. And just to reiterate, this does still have a publishing time, so there will still be a few projects that are being submitted, and there will be projects coming out of the ground over the next 12 months. Even though the moratorium's in place, they may have already been approved, and just haven't started construction. But thank you very much, council. I think that's a wise move.
we could go and look and see what has already been approved but has not been started?
Hunter, do you have a?
Public commission.
You sat down too soon.
Get your exercise in tonight.
Yes, there is. It's not a consolidated list, but that's one of the projects we've really wanted to do. So we want to have, actually, we've got a rough draft of a GIS map that'll have where every project is and be able to have the details there. That might take us a couple of months to get, but in the meantime, all of our agendas, meeting minutes for planning commission cases, and city council, if they were the final decision on projects, are online. It's a little bit laborious right now, but planning commission has all those cases, so even if they're not the final decision maker, all of those are consolidated. If I believe our website is government, the first tab, planning commission, and that is a calendar. So each month under agenda, you'll see all the cases there. And we put those out about a week before every planning commission meeting, so anything that happens in the future, I'll always give that plug. But
What about what has happened in the past over the last 3 years?
that's where you can find all of those projects. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Mr. Williams, do you have a basketball game to get to?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming tonight.
Good luck.
Good luck, Chris.
All right, agenda item number 8 is an ordinance amending ordinance number 1510 and ordinance number 1635, known as the Personnel Rules, Policies, and Procedures Ordinance by amending Section 4, Wage and Salary Administration. And this pertains to certifications and trainings. Would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
I'll introduce it.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Robinson. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this, or typically let this lay over? I don't think there's any rush to adopt this, but I don't see the mayor. All right. We'll let this lay over and give everyone a few minutes to clear out. All right. Number 9 is an ordinance amending ordinance number 1510, known as the Personnel Rules, Policies, Procedures Ordinance by amending Section 4, and this is Wage and Salary Administration related to travel policy. Would someone like to introduce this ordinance?
I'll introduce it.
All right, thank you, Councilman Boone. Ordinance has been introduced. Does anyone have any questions or comments, or normally just let this lay over? No reason to rush this, so. No comments, we'll let this ordinance lay over. Item number 10 is just a resolution to approve the regular city council meetings for 2022. I believe we addressed this in the work session. Everyone's had an opportunity. We probably missed something along the way, or something will come up during the year.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion, any comment? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes, or no one opposed? I didn't hear anyone opposed. So motion passes. Item number 11 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope supports passage of legislation in the United States Congress to designate Alabama's underwater forest as part of the National Marine Sanctuary System. Any?
Make a motion to support the passage of legislation.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? None, motion carries. Item number 12 is a resolution that Mayor Sherry Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute a contract with J&M Displays for professional consultant for the design and production of the fireworks displays for the New Year's Eve celebration for the Community Affairs Department with a not-to-exceed amount of $10,000.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Item number 13 is a resolution that Mayor Sherry Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute a contract with Music Garden for the band known as Blackberry Breeze, also for the New Year's Eve downtown celebration. And that has a cost not to exceed $7,500.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further conversation or discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion passes. Item 14 is a resolution that Mayor Sherry Sullivan is hereby authorized to execute a service agreement with Motorola Solution for Astro Essential Service Renewal, which includes a 1-year extended warranty for 105 APX radios with a cost of $7,535.40.
Move to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement.
All right, we've got a
Second.
motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? This was presented by Jeff.
I just want a discussion real quick because we have a larger audience that we went through all of these routine purchases in the work session. So if it looks like we're just frivolously spending money as fast as we can, every one of these items were talked about in the work session earlier tonight.
That's right, in pretty good detail.
Yeah, and this part has a second part to it, by the way. Just to put that-
Yes, the second part of that is coming at a future date, and that was for the consoles. And so, right now, this shows to be a good bit under budget, but by the time the consoles are purchased, we'll probably be a lot closer to that total figure. All right, did we have a motion and second already on
Yes.
that?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, motion passes. Next, item 15 is a resolution to award bid to East Bay Electric for distribution and 46 kV line additions and improvements for the electric department with a total bid proposal of $936,343.50. And we had, this was reviewed earlier by, was it by Jay Fleming, our new electric department superintendent, and Jeremy both address this.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Fleming, did I hear that the installation crew was being remobilized now to start the installation at this, work on that substation?
That is for the Morphy substation. Yes.
Okay.
They are there now.
Okay, great.
All right.
Which these lines will go to that station, right?
Yes, that's
Okay, okay.
All right. Any other questions? All right. All right, none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item number 16 is a resolution to award the bid to One-to-One Communications LLC doing business as One Source for the utility departments with a total bid proposal of $53,000. And Kim had mentioned this was for printing utility bills, and this is in line with what the prior company was charging, and hadn't been bid out in a while. It was time to send that out for rebid. So, anyone wish to entertain a motion?
I'll move to award the bid.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any additional questions for Kim? Any discussion?
I thought that the bids, that they were at good prices compared to everybody else, really, really good. A substantial difference, I would say.
All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. Item number 17 is a resolution to award the bid to Blade Construction LLC for Fells Avenue and Pier Avenue Drainage Improvement Project for Public Works Department with a total bid proposal of $67,226. And let's see. As Richard mentioned, this was a unbudgeted item, but it was unexpected. Once we had the 5 inches of rain in a morning, we realized we had a project there that we needed to take care of. So it was not known at the time of the budgeting process. Does anyone have any questions for Richard, or would anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
I noticed that there was only one bid for this, Richard. Was there no one else that wanted to bid for this, or how does that work?
We only received one bid, but based upon, and we didn't share the budget numbers, very good price.
Okay.
We recommend.
All right.
Yeah, I believe you
So we-
mentioned this was cheaper than y'all could have done the work yourselves.
Okay. So
So-
we couldn't got any.
Yeah. Point noted. All right. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
All right, we got a motion
I'll second.
and a second.
Trying to
Okay.
give them an opportunity.
You don't want to do all the work.
We can do the heavy lift at that point.
Any further discussion on this item? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Item number 18 is a resolution that the governing body of the city of Fairhope, Alabama hereby rejects all bids for bid number 4-22 of the North Summit Street NRCS EWP project for the Public Works Department. We only had received one bid and authorizes the mayor to negotiate a contract with the one bidder pursuant to the Code of Alabama. Any questions for Richard? Was that Richard on this one? Yes. Any questions for Richard on this? He covered it in the work session. Or would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
You got a motion?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, motion passes. Item number 19 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope has voted to procure restoration services for flood damage at the Roy C. White Fire Station, which is station number 2, and awards the project to Seal Quality Construction and Renovations in the amount of $30,686.64. This was also a result of that same rainstorm that Richard mentioned. He covered this in the work session. So at this time, would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions for Richard?
Just point out to the council that there's a $5,000 deductible, so rather than the roughly $31,000, it should only be a
That's right.
cost of $5,000.
Insurance claim is in process, so thank you for pointing that out. All right. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Item number 20 is a resolution that Fairhope has voted to purchase a 2022 Ford F-250 Super Cab 4x4 pickup truck or equivalent for the gas department, and the type of vehicle needed is on the Alabama State Department of Purchasing bid list and does not have to be let out for bid. Estimated cost of $31,741, and that is not to exceed the budget amount of $48,000. So Jeremy presented this during the work session. Council, any questions for Jeremy, or would anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion to accept the bid.
Second.
Got a motion and a second?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Didn't get a chance. Kill him.
I was gonna ask if you had any questions.
You know I have a question. Jeremy, it is quite a bit under budget, and you gave a lot of good reasons why, but is there any equipment that's going to have to be added to this truck that's going to push that number back up to that budget?
No, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great job, Jeremy.
All right, any additional questions, council? None? All right.
Slow down.
All right. No additional questions, and at this time, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Tripping over myself there. All right, item number 21 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope has voted to purchase 3 2021 Ford Police Interceptor AW all-wheel drive utility or equivalent for the police department, and the type of vehicle is on the Alabama State Department of Purchasing bid list and therefore does not have to be let out for bid. Estimated cost of $133,252.50, not to exceed the budget amount of $186,405. And Chief did indicate that there were equipment add-ons that could be somewhere in the 40,000 range, so that would push that closer to that budgeted amount, but should still be under that. Does anyone have any questions for the chief or any further comments or discussion?
So another 40,000 hours, I mean, looking at the equipment package, said the purchase included, and it's got a rather lengthy list of options. So
and the additions that we have to put in there ourselves.
Okay,
This doesn't have anything to do with the package on the vehicle.
okay, this, under comments, it says, the purchase should include a Stivers internal slick top light bar package, perk meter lighting package, spot lamp on driver's side, rear dome lamp, dual AR-15, gun rack, a hot switch release, and another 4, 5, 6 items.
The additional equipment is radars, the in-car camera, the mobile radios, the cradle points, and then the gun racks, in addition to the radars.
Okay. It just seems to be some differences in what's on the green sheet and what you're stating is in the package. And the only reason I ask the question is because you'll come back and maybe ask for funding for that package and.
No.
And
Will make a difference in what we put on here, the difference between what we purchased and what was budgeted. When they come through with those equipments, we'll use the same.
that's what I'm saying. It's going to come back to us. And at that point, I would say, wait a minute, this sheet said all that was included. That's my point. Right? So if it said it's included, why would we approve it later? I mean, it seems to be,
It's additional equipment that we have to,
There was maybe one item that was mentioned twice, but most of
The gun racks, the gun racks.
The gun racks was only mentioned twice. The rest of it.
lights are in,
the lights will be included in that package.
I hear you now.
And your list is an additional.
Correct.
That's what, okay, very good.
So we'll get back close to that budget amount then.
That's correct.
All right. All right.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Chief.
Chief.
Any other comments or questions, council?
Make a motion, to accept the bid.
All right, we got a motion.
Second.
And a second.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. I think we're about at the halfway point.
I was gonna say, congrats, you're halfway done.
All right, item number 22 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope has voted to purchase or procure 2 John Deere 1550 terrain cut commercial front mowers and rear discharge decks for the Public Works Department. And the equipment is available for direct procurement through the Sourcewell Grounds Maintenance Contract, which has been nationally bid. Whoops, I bumped it. Sorry about that. Nationally bid does not have to be let out for bid, and the cost will be $49,750.36. Council, do you have any questions for Richard on this?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. Got a motion and a second. Any further comment or question? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item number 23 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope has voted to procure a Tomcat VR Rider Sweeper model, number 349-TC for the purchasing warehouse. The equipment is available for direct procurement through Alabama State Department of Purchasing contract, number T-700, and does not have to be let out for bid. Total estimate amount is $15,610, slightly above budget. Kim said from basically the time they built the budget until the time they actually put it out for bid, it had gone up slightly, which is not totally uncommon right now. Council members, do y'all have any questions for Kim on this? She covered it in the work session. No? All right, would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
All right, we got a
Second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. Item number 24 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope has voted to procure a 2022 Freightliner M2 with a 4-yard mixer equivalent for the Public Works Department, and the equipment is available for direct procurement through the Sourcewell contract, with National Auto Fleet, which has been nationally bid and therefore does not have to be let out for bid. The cost will be $139,831. And this would allow them to bring this in-house, often bring it in-house. Does
To
anyone
do
have
all
any?
the small concrete jobs, is that what it was?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Richard?
I think
Or
it's
any
excellent.
comments? All right.
I think it's excellent.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
So, second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further comments? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item number 25 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope has voted to procure a Caterpillar Model C4 diesel generator with mounted equipment for the Fairhope Volunteer Fire Department at Fire Station 1, and the equipment is available for direct procurement through the Sourcewell contract, which has been nationally bid and does not have to be let out for bid. Estimated cost $35,424. Chief Ellis brought this up in the council meeting. I don't know if he's still here. If anyone has any questions or comments.
And Kim, do you know on this one, the project was budgeted as a very specific amount, 61,941, and it comes in $26,000 under budget, which is great. The budget amount was so specific. Did we get what we wanted, or do we have something else coming on that?
This is what I'm understanding.
All right.
I don't know if there'd be any kind of cost for the actual hookup or mounting or.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if it was like 62,000, but it was budgeted at $61,941.
Pretty specific.
That might just be Richard, I don't know. He was in here.
If he's moonlighting for the fire department. All right.
Got many hats.
Any other questions or comments, council? All right. Hearing none, entertain a motion?
So
Or
moved.
Have we already made a motion on? Okay.
No.
All right. Got a motion
Second?
and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item number 26 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope has voted to procure a backup server with mountable rack with a 3-year extended service agreement for the IT department. The equipment is available for direct procurement through Omnia Partners contract, been nationally bid, does not have to be let out for bid, and will cost $23,283.06.
Make a motion to approve?
All right, we got a motion?
Second.
And a second? Any further discussion? And this was presented by Jeff. All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next couple items are also from Jeff. We've got item number 27 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope has voted to procure the renewal of Microsoft 365 E3 and Microsoft Exchange Online Advanced Threat Protection for annual licensing for the IT department. And the type of maintenance renewal needed is available for direct procurement through Omnia as well. Does not have to be let out for bid, and the total cost will be $70,035.90. Just annual renewal.
Make a motion to approve?
We got a motion
Second.
and a second. Does anyone have any further questions or comments for Jeff? Or anyone else? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, none, motion passes. Item number 28 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope has voted to procure a dispatch recorder media works server upgrade for the police department, and that type of equipment is available for direct procurement through General Services Administration contract, which has been nationally bid, does not have to be let out for bid, and cost will be $19,925, and this is to replace the dispatch recorder. Jeff said it's about 8 years old, is starting to give them some problems, so if anyone has any questions for Jeff, or this time we would entertain a motion, either one.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further comment or question? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. Item number 29 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope has voted to procure VT SCADA 25K dual redundant server license with commissioning, setup, support, and training for the electric department from Deep South Automation as the sole source distributor for Trihedral Inc. and authorizes procurement based on the option allowed by Code of Alabama. Cost will be $49,295. This is a budgeted item. Jeremy presented this to us in the work session.
Move to purchase the SCADA.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to purchase. Any further discussion or comments? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Item number 30 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope has voted to procure fitness equipment for the rec center, or the recreation department, and the equipment is available for direct procurement through Sourcewell contract and has been nationally bid, does not have to be let out for bid. The cost will be $41,722. As Pat said earlier, this is going to replace the majority of the equipment at the rec center, of the workout equipment, and the bikes are about 12 years old, and if you've been on a bike that's 12 years old, you know how out of date that is now, so, of a stationary bike, that is. Would anyone like to make a motion on this item? Got a
Second.
motion and a second. Would anyone like to ask any questions, any further comment? Pat? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Item number 31 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope has voted to procure 16 high-power PowerPort marine pedestals for Fairhope Docks from High Power, a division of Hydro Hoist Marine Group, who's the sole source manufacturer and the only direct source for this type of pedestal, and authorizes procurement based on the option allowed by Code of Alabama. And the estimated cost is $22,177.63. This is going to acquire the final 16 pedestals needed for power down at Fairhope Docks, and Pat said we're looking at an 8 to 12 week lead time on these items. So does anyone have any questions for Pat or any comments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item number 32 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope has voted to procure LED lighting package for the new baseball fields for the rec department, and the equipment is available for direct procurement through Sourcewell Sports Lighting Contract. It's been nationally bid, does not have to be let out for bid, and the cost will be $539,000. And Pat presented this during the work session. Any questions or comments for Pat? Would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
All right,
Second.
got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item number 33 is a resolution that the City of Fairhope has voted to procure an LED lighting package for the high school softball fields for the rec department, and the equipment is available for direct procurement through Sourcewell Sports Lighting Contract, been nationally bid, does not have to be let out for bid. The cost for the softball fields is $96,400. Would anyone?
Motion to approve.
All right, got a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further comments or questions?
Yeah, I want to point out, it says the high school softball fields, but they are.
The city.
They are city-owned fields, so
Yeah.
we're furnishing them.
Nice catch there. That is where the high school plays, but it is owned by the city. That is correct. Any additional comments or questions, anyone? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item number 34 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope has voted to procure LED lighting package for the pickleball courts for the rec department. And the equipment is available through direct procurement through Sourcewell Sports Lighting contract, been nationally bid, does not have to be let out for bid, and the cost is $28,000. Any comments or questions on the pickleball lights?
Make a motion to approve?
All right, we got a motion and a second. I know that this sport apparently has long lines, so they probably needed to have the flexibility to play at night, but clear some space out there. Any other questions, comments? If none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Item number 35 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope has voted to procure one Toro Dingo TX 1000 wide track compact utility loader with a dingo bucket for Public Works Department, and the equipment is available for direct procurement through the Sourcewell contract, which has been nationally bid and therefore does not have to be let out for rebid. The cost will be $34,095, and this was a budgeted item.
Make a motion to accept the
Got-
bid.
All right, we got a
Second.
motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. Item number 36 is a resolution that the city of Fairhope hereby approves the Public Works project for the new baseball fields of Atlanta Park for in-house labor, equipment, and materials, irrigation of $8,960, sand and dirt, $4,900, sod, $46,000, poles and netting, $15,000, and equipment, $25,000, with an estimated cost of $99,860. Trying to keep that under $100,000, and that is for 4 new baseball fields at Valanta.
A couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
For you or Pat. This is for 4, is this for 4 fields? Okay, and then for the lights that were purchased on item 32, the $539,000, was that for these 4 fields? Okay, how many fields in item number 33 are being lit for how many softball fields? Okay, 1, okay, I noticed that we lit 1 field for $96,000, but to light 4, it was $539,000.
Had to buy the poles, I think, for.
Is that the difference?
Required poles reset. The high school field has existing poles.
Okay.
Just be transitioning out the hardware on the poles.
All right, excellent, okay, thank you.
All right, any further questions for Pat? All right. Do we already have a motion?
Make a
on
motion to
that?
accept the bid.
Okay.
Or approve the project?
Approve the
Second.
project.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. Item number 37 is a resolution that the city council hereby authorizes Mayor Sherry Sullivan to execute the master easement agreement between Portico Fairhope LLC, Portico Fairhope 2 LLC, and the city of Fairhope, the single tax colony, and Chris Haley, which will terminate the right of entry and permanent drainage easement number 1, amend and restate the existing easement agreements, and establish new Portico 2 easements. Marcus brought this forth earlier today. He's got the revision here. There were a couple of changes made by single tax. He has reviewed those changes, and everything looks good to you. All right. So recommended by the city attorney that we go ahead and approve this. Any questions for Marcus? No comments? All right. This time I would consider a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Got a motion
Second?
and a second? All those in favor of updated master agreement, master easement agreement? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you. Appreciate you waiting around, Chris. It was a long time to sit here for that. Yes,
Shorter than
sir.
a planning commission meeting.
Item number 38 was pulled from the agenda, so item number 38 was prior item number 39, and this is a recommendation to appoint Lisa Atchley to the rec board. And Councilman Martin is our liaison, and you said all looked right with that recommendation?
Yes, we had two to abstain, as Jack mentioned earlier, but no problems that I hear.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the appointment.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion, any questions, council? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the addition of Lisa Atchley to the rec board, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. Item number 40 is a resolution that the Fairhope Public Schools Commission appointment and reappointments. We have recommended appointment for Joe Kelly and a recommended reappointment for Carrie McLemore and Robin Coleman. Corey has also indicated, I guess, liaison for this as well, and that everything seems to be in order. Would entertain a motion for the whole group, or?
Yeah, I entertain a motion for the appointment and reappointments.
All right, we got a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further questions or conversation, discussion on these appointments? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, sorry.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Item number 41, Street and Traffic Control Committee. And this is a recommendation for North Ingleside Street between Central Boulevard and Edwards Avenue, recommending that the mayor work with the Public Works Department to install beautification pinch points in this area to reduce volume of traffic. For Mershon Street between Morphy Avenue and Nichols Avenue, recommending that the city add beautification bump outs in the vicinity of the end of the municipal property along the roadway, or to work with consultants for other landscape features and methods that would reduce speed. And then at the intersection of South Summit and Nichols Avenue, is recommending the installation of traffic signage to mitigate the blind intersection as approaching the intersection headed north on South Summit Street. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that? I know we had.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think, I was a little confused because I just want to clarify with you, Jack, since this is your puppy, but the young lady was asking for bullet 3 to be on bullet 1, where it's asking for signage. And she said
Well,
she
I
didn't-
no, that's a separate
three-way
type of
stop.
signage. She was asking for.
For a three-way stop.
A three-way stop and
On
just,
North Ingleside?
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Well,
I'm sorry.
But that's not-
Yes,
okay.
it's a three-way
No,
stop
yeah,
around.
so just to kind of give you guys an idea on this, is that we considered, we had extremely lengthy discussions on this. We looked at all the data, all the traffic data. It's just like, even I mentioned on Mershon, you'll get people, we'll have somebody that drove 90 miles an hour down Mershon, and I would say that you could find that probably on every street, unfortunately, even every residential street at some point in time in our city. But we did talk about the three-way stop, and, Chief, I don't think you were at that meeting, though, were you? Were you at that one? I thought you had somebody there for you. Okay. But the recommendation, after being talked about by everybody, was, kind of comes down to this: a stop sign is your last resort for calming traffic. We've even put them in. It's not public discussion right now. We put them in. We've even put them in and been told to take them out after that happened. That happened in Quail Creek. So we discussed it at length, and we thought that if we could accomplish the same thing with some pinch points, which would beautify the area, we could try it out. If it didn't work, we can go to another plan. But the thought was to try something different, because a lot of times you put a stop sign in, people speed to the stop sign, now they've had to stop, they need to make up time, and they take off. And the location of that, if I recall, was such that there was a pretty good bit of distance between the stop signs and the other streets. Is that right, Chief? Does that sound familiar? There's quite a bit. It's kind of in the middle point of that. And we thought that people may try to make up the time. And I think that naturally people want to do that. So we don't want to discount your suggestion, but I mean, you know, we talk about everything from speed humps, and we thought if you put in these pinch points, they can be very small, and they can be something like a planter or a plant a tree or something, but the visual itself will naturally slow people down. But having said that, the other part of this discussion was that we would get with the neighborhood, and specifically would ask the mayor to do that, to work with Public Works and the neighbors to come up with something that is agreeable to everyone, not just what the Street and Traffic Control Committee thought. But we thought rather than go in and do the last resort of a stop sign, we would try something different. That was our thought process from council.
Is it okay for us to make comments?
Public comment is actually closed, but I'll go ahead and let you make a comment.
Well, we'll just like to say, I mean, they put in a three-way stop further south on North Ingleside in January of this year, I believe, and it significantly improved that area. So while you're looking, planning, whatever you can do to do a beautification pinch point, that's great, but stop signs can go up tomorrow. I mean, they can be fast, they're cheap, we'll pay for them.
It's not, yeah, no, it's not a cost.
I understand. We're asking for some immediate relief. We've been working on this for 18 months.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it'll take to do these other studies, but we just want safety on our street. That's all we're looking for.
I guess, council, my part is that while we do have, comments from citizens, and I do appreciate that, is that this was not, this recommendation was made with experts in planning and traffic control, much more than I am even, and this was the recommendation that was made to try this. I think you make a very good point on an immediate need, though. I don't know how I would feel about putting that in and then, until the pinch point's constructed, then pulling the sidewalk, the stop sign up. I don't know.
Y'all done that before? Did you know of?
The only time that I know of is once we put in stop signs in Quail Creek because people complained. And then the residents got so upset they came and made us pull the stop signs up.
Well, we had stop signs added in my community. It was something immediate until we could get the bumps.
Yeah.
Just to slow the kids down. I didn't have an adverse reaction to it in my community.
Did y'all pull them up afterwards?
No, they actually kept it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still there.
Chief, have you?
So, didn't follow that.
Chief, have you done that before? Have you installed the stop signs for temporary and then pulled them out, or what are your thoughts on?
No, I've not been personally involved in any of that. I know
Okay.
in the traffic committee meeting that we have discussed that has been something that has occurred before, but I have not actually been involved in that.
I personally would have a problem adding to this after it's, without having the street and traffic committee having another chance to look at it. I mean, if that's something we want to take back to them and ask them what their recommendation would be on that, I'd feel comfortable with that, but I feel just adding that in to something that they've spent time researching and having input from experts on, and me not being an expert on that, just adding it in. I mean, do we want to table this and and bring that suggestion back?
What if we address this issue as it's on the agenda, and then ask if in the interim if they want to make a recommendation to install a stop sign?
I think that's fair, too.
I don't think we need to table this. I mean, this is what we want to
Yeah,
work
because
towards.
tabling this, you're not doing anything to slow it down further.
Right. Does that sound like a place to start, and then just get with the traffic committee about a three-way stop?
revisit it.
Just to.
And now that you do remind me, I think that the other part of that discussion was, how many stop signs do you put
Before
on
you
that
just-
road as well.
Yeah.
It does, I mean, it does stop people, but there was a lot of people in that room that just said if you can come up with an ulterior method, because people will try to make that time up.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind putting a stop sign. I just go on record. I mean, I'm listening to them. They've been working on this for 18 months. I don't see how much more professional you can get. You know, they're seeing what's going on, in my opinion. So I wouldn't mind. That's pretty benign, I believe.
Well, I mean, and I'm not diminishing the request by any stretch, but I mean, there's certain things that we have committees for because they have a certain level of expertise that we don't have. And I've used a stop sign, I know how they work, but I don't know what the data that goes behind making that decision is, what the traffic flow is, what the speed impact really is of putting it there versus putting it the next stop down. And I'm just not comfortable making that decision without having more information. I'm not saying that I wouldn't agree to it, I just don't feel comfortable adding it on as sort of a kind of an add-in without having more information about it.
I'm gonna move to make the recommendations from the Street and Traffic Control Committee.
All right.
And with just the comment that we will place that on the next agenda, Chief, to revisit that stop sign and try to accelerate that discussion.
Okay. All right. We've got a motion and a second. Do we have any further comment or discussion? All right. At this time, we've got a motion, second, no other comment. All those in favor of the Street and Traffic Control Committee recommendations, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, council. Last item up is public participation to address the council. This can be on anything, agenda, non-agenda, anything you wish to address the council on. Please come forward. You got 3 minutes and give your name and address. For the record. All right. Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close public participation. And last item on here, council, is motion for adjournment. Does
Move to
anyone?
adjourn.
Second?
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is that, all right. We're adjourned. Thank you very much.